Live on PuckTime for February 4th here on WagerTalk TV. Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco, and Andy Lang here to break down 3 games, props, sides, totals, team totals, all kinds of great promotions, including $5 Tuesday. Every single handicapper with at least one play, or at most, I should say, one play for just $5. We have all kinds of great deals going on at WagerTalk. I'm sure we'll get to that throughout the show. But as the NHL schedule makers do, guys, they gave us one game yesterday and a jam-packed slate here on Tuesday. And Carm, it's pretty much a jam-packed slate all the way up until the break, the Four Nations pause. So I hope you enjoyed your day off yesterday because it's going to be a lot of NHL content for the next week and a half. How are you, Carm?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the 2 week break. I still think this tournament is such a dumb tournament, but at the end of the day, players don't want to get you don't want to get your players injured for your teams and does anyone really say is Canada going to celebrate or US going to celebrate? Hey, we're the Four Nations Cup winners or tournament winners. I don't think so. So we'll fill our time with NHL and still try and make and Andrew, maybe we'll put together a future show somewhere in between because Dan just loves these shows each and every day, and he'll be in a better mood if the Eagles win the Super Bowl on Sunday. But we got Sabres and Columbus tonight. The Sabres 3-game win streak. Where did that come from? Florida and Washington. The Rodney Dangerfield line of the day. Washington getting no respect. Your props playlist. The Leafs and the Calgary Flames. Leafs trying to complete the Alberta double and then some best bets. And we have Andy Lang here. I didn't know if I was going to make it in time because I had a doc's appointment. So Andy stepped in. And Andy, welcome to the show, man. We were talking just before we went live. You have a monster week ahead of you, man. And you have a promo too. And I know we normally save the promos to the end, but you have to talk about it because I absolutely love everything that is going on. If you want to mention it before we get into the first game.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. It is maybe the greatest week in sports betting for myself and for clients. We've got the Super Bowl. We've got probably my favorite golf tournament, which is the Phoenix Open, otherwise known as the Waste Management. That's the one, as you said, Carm, where it's a gigantic party. Everyone shows up in costumes and just gets obliterated. And it's perfect weather, so it's going to be amazing. Thursday is the very first week for the Premier League of Darts. We have a 5% UFC play up. We're coming off a 3-0 night in NBA. It really may be the best. The only thing we're missing is a Formula One race, to be honest. But we're running a 7-day special for only $69. We're red hot, 41 and 17 in the last 2.5 weeks for plus 41 units. So there's no reason to focus on just one sport when we've got so many great things going on this week. So $69 gets you 7 days of all those plays, and it's a no-brainer. The 5% play is normally $35. Why not bump it up to $70 and get all those plays? So, yep, it's going to be a lot. Starting Thursday, man, I am a busy, busy man.
I love it, man. The Waste Management one. Every time I see the highlights, and then I have a couple of friends there, Steve and Sarah, who live in Arizona, and they've gone to the Waste Management tournament, and I see their videos and their pictures, and it's absolutely a phenomenal time. Uh, Andrew, speaking of phenomenal times, the free space on the bingo card, man. The Sabres, 3 games in a row. I'm going to make my take on this quick, and then I'm going to go to you first, Andrew. 3 games in a row, they've scored 15 goals against the Bruins. I think the Bruins, the Preds, and the Devils. The Devils probably the more surprising one. I thought they would have lost that game. Since returning back from the West Coast, 3 straight wins for this team. They're trying to close this 4-game homestand out with the win against Columbus, who are off a 5-3 loss in Dallas. And then they'll play their final game before the Four Nations break in Nashville. There's still a ways to go for the Sabres team, and I don't see them moving up the standings. But for a brief, fleeting moment, the Sabres and their fan base are having a good time of it. Sabres are 170 tonight. Unbelievably high price on the Sabres. When do you see a last place team in the East minus 170? I can't lay that number, but I am going to take the Sabres. I'm going to take them in regulation, minus 110, get them to do the job. The one caveat to all this is Andrew Tage Thompson, not on the ice at the morning skate this morning after he took that hit in the last game where none of the Sabres came or did anything. They just kind of stood around while this guy's lying on the ice. Wasn't part of the morning skate. They brought up Isaac Rosen from their AHL team, so he's likely to get in there. I still like the Sabres, minus 110. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, Carm, your Sabres are kind of going, they're feeling good, just like my Canadians were feeling good a couple weeks ago until they now lost like 5 or 6 straight. So enjoy it while you can. The free space in the bingo card always ends up going back to being who they naturally are. But at this point, I got to look towards Buffalo. And to me, it's not as much that I'm buying on Buffalo. I'm more so selling on Columbus. So there's a few different ways we can look at things right now. You could look at a couple different ways as far as the first period, look at the team total, the regulation. I kind of want to just take a look at this team total under for the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 110. That's kind of a bold play, judging based on how Buffalo's defense is, and I completely get that. So you could bet on their offense and take their team total over, or that defense and more the lack thereof for offense of Columbus and take under 2.5 at plus 110 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. But overall, when I look at things right now for this Columbus team, Kirill Marchenko being out is huge. I believe he broke his jaw. He's going to be out for quite a bit of time now, at least a couple weeks, okay? Then he'll come back with the cage, and it'll be a little bit too late for any of this playoff hope. This is a Columbus team that was sitting in a playoff position for quite some time. Now they have just slowly made their way out of contention. And when you've got the Islanders, the Flyers, the Bruins, the Rangers, all of these teams that are just kind of like bobbing around the playoff wildcard situation, no teams can afford to lose a handful of games in a row. And so now when you have, Dante Fabro out, Lidstrom's been out all year, Gudbranson, Boone Jenner, Marchenko, and then Sean Monahan, you just can't lose that many guys. When you have a good team like the Avalanche, they can afford to lose players and still be good. When a Columbus Blue Jackets team is playing well, they're playing well collectively. You start seeing players drop like flies, they're going to start dropping L's every night. I don't trust them without their key players. Marchenko is probably one of the most, I would say, underappreciated, shocking players of the year with some of the ways he's performed. I think he reached the 20-goal mark. He's been unbelievable. So, Andy, I know in sports we're not really supposed to say this team's injured, so let's bet against them, because a lot of times, especially in point spread sports, that's usually a time when you jump on a team because the point spread and people are going to overreact. But I am overreacting, and I am reacting because I think Columbus stinks without a few good players. So I'm going to go against Columbus here, guys, and I got to go with a bold pick here. Team total under 2.5 at plus 110. Anything catch your eye, Andy, in this one?
Yeah, I was looking at Jason Tucker will have a point over in, last 4 out of the last 5 games, and the shot attempts are really gone up 6, 5, 5, and 5 the last 4 games. He had a point against Columbus earlier this season, and like you brought up, this Buffalo team, I don't really want to get in front of them. It's only 3 games, but 14 goals combined in those. It's when a team just gets hot on a goal scoring streak, you kind of ride the wave here. So I think they can keep it up at least another couple games. So when I'm looking at Sabres player props, I went over on shots on goal, I went over on points, and I'll roll with Jason Tucker tonight.
And Andy, you said it, and Andrew, I think you have to agree. We saw with Columbus when they put together that nice run, they were scoring goals, they were winning games, especially at home. And sometimes it takes on a life of its own. Listen, I have no thoughts of the Sabres ever competing for a playoff spot. They're going to finish last or second last in the Eastern Conference. But it doesn't mean you can't make money along the way betting on a team when they get hot. I mean, they lost 13 in a row. That was a great time to jump against them. And who knows? Maybe they do complete the homestand 4-0. Maybe they do go to Nashville and beat on a Nashville team that's underperforming as well too. And maybe they head into the Nations Cup, the Four Nations tournament on a 5-game win streak. We'll see. They got to start with it tonight. Any final thoughts on this game? Because I know people are wondering why are we talking about the Buffalo Sabres and Columbus Blue Jackets on a big night like tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just one of those times where you have to ride waves. Like you said, I mean, NHL is one of those sports where if you find a team playing well, you jump on them. You try and predict when a team's going to go downhill. You got to read that early. I mean, I have some friends that love betting player props, and I know Andy can get where I'm coming from with this. If you see a guy that's hit, a certain prop 9 of his last 10 games, but you haven't been on any of those, you really want to jump in. You're like, I don't know, I already missed the first 9. That's how I feel about these streaks. Like if the Sabres are playing well right now or Columbus is going downhill, I want to get in now. I don't want to be talking to you guys next Tuesday and all of a sudden Columbus has lost 6 of their last 7 and, I haven't faded them once. So, I'd say if you have a feeling about a team, good or bad, you got to act soon before the prices change or before the streak is over. Guys, before we jump into the next game, I'll just mention once again that Super Bowl, the big game to big game deal we have up at WagerTalk.com. It's a really good deal. We've been talking about it quite a bit as well. And, you're going to get every single sport from a capper of your choice for one great package. And, you're saving a ton of money. And when you look at it, Super Bowl is really it's that time frame where people kind of look at the sports calendar flipping, right? Okay. Football is officially over. College football, NFL. You look forward to baseball season. You look forward to March Madness. You look forward to NHL, NBA playoffs, UFC, soccer, all kinds of great stuff. So you're saving a ton of money. All picks, everything that a favorite capper of your choice releases for $11.99. Regular price $19.99 on that full deal. So guys, that will not be available forever. So if you want to get in on that package for Andy, for Carmine, for myself, every single play that we release, you guys can get that for a great deal right now. Big game to big game. And I think it's a really good one. It's a really good saving opportunity. Instead of just buying one play at a time, you're going to just get every single play that they release. I'll throw it back to you, Carm. Florida and Washington.
Yeah, it's a great deal. Some of you took advantage of it yesterday with me, and we kicked it off with a 5% soccer winner on Lazio at plus money. So we're going to try and keep those soccer plays and get these hockey plays going as well too. Andy, the Rodney Dangerfield line of the night: Washington Capitals even money at home, first place in the Eastern Conference. Florida is small favorite at minus 120. Total sits here at 5.5. How are you playing this one?
I'm going to go back to Sam Bennett to not have a point. This has been an oldie but goodie for us this year. And someone in the chat did a really good job last time I was on talking about how he just wasn't completely healthy because he started off the year like gangbusters. I mean, he was putting in a point just about every night. Then it's just completely fallen apart. He's gone under in 16 out of the last 20 games. So this is one of those plays where you have to commit to it. You're playing it each night. Andrew, you brought it up. When you see a streak that's hit 9 games in a row, don't jump in and play it. Like you're going to ruin it for everybody else. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Sam Bennett is one of those guys where if he has a point, you come back and play him again. He hasn't had back-to-back games with points since December. So he's gone 2 games in a row without a point. I will continue to keep fading Sam Bennett on the points. Washington defense still is second on the year with not allowing goals, and they've gotten pummeled the last couple games. They're going to bounce back. Their defense and goaltending is much better than that. So I expect a nice bounce back. They're rested, couple days rest. So I'll take Sam Bennett, no points in this one.
It's weird, man, because, ever since we've been talking hockey together this year and ever since you first brought that up, I'm watching these Panthers games and it's not like he's doing anything wrong. Like I know we had a commenter talking about, injury stuff, but he's looked good recently. Like he's bringing a lot to the team. It's just not scoring. Like he brings a certain edge to the team. And I guess that's why he is the player that he is, because he can still be valuable to a team. You know what the comparison I will give to Sam Bennett right now, and it's exactly what the Los Angeles Lakers currently need after the trade. They need a rim protector. That's what Sam Bennett kind of is. He's like that guy that is 200-foot player. He's kind of scrappy, but he's not really scoring. So Andy, we're watching him every night, skate around out there and make plays, but he's just not getting a point. So Sam Bennett, no point as Andy continues to cash that ticket. You got to love that, man. And, that's so funny because he does bring value to the team, but he is just not scoring. Carm, you're talking about how weird this line is. And all I know is that this season, it's kind of like how I feel about the Chiefs. I would rather be on the Capitals than bet against them because anytime I've faded them, they've just screwed me. How many times all season long with the Chiefs did people say, well, they deserve to lose that game? Well, they probably deserve to lose. If that guy's cleat was this color, they would have lost. Well, they still won it. That's how I feel about the Capitals. I told people all year, well, their goaltending has saved them. Well, this guy's on a streak. It's going to end for them. And then Brian comes on every week and just bets the Capitals and they win here on PuckTime. So I don't really want to go against this team, man, because at this point, with the way that they're set up with their numbers and their prices we're constantly given, I think last week they were playing a Western Conference team. They were like minus 140 and they easily won. So after all that being said, could you take the dog in this game?
I get it. Washington is the dog, but they're even money. We're not getting enough plus money on this one. And you can make a case for sort of the strength of schedule and look at Florida and say, okay, well, they beat the Ducks back-to-back games against the Ducks. They beat the San Jose Sharks. They beat the LA Kings, the Chicago Blackhawks, and recently the New York Islanders. And you can probably, if you want to go a little further, blame that Islanders loss on calling up a goalie from the AHL who was 5-11-1 in the AHL with a 322 goals against average and a below 9 save percentage, and he got lit up in that game, and I think they scored within the first minute of that game. Florida did. But the fact is, Andrew, you can only play who they put in front of you, and Florida's winning games, and they've pulled within 8 points of Washington for the for top spot. So this is maybe the next step forward, and maybe we are seeing a little bit of regression from this Caps team that have played at a high level all season long. This team, we are 50 games into the season, at least 50 games into the season, and this Washington team has led start to finish at the top of the East. They're playing some great hockey, but minus 120 on Florida, it just seems very attractive. Maybe it's a fish line and I'm getting sucked into this one. You could say Florida's on their third and four nights, but they've had 5 previous situations this season where they're playing their third game in 4 nights, and they are 3-1-1 in those situations this season. So minus 120, I'm going to take Florida here, but it will not make my card, but my lean is to Florida here. And with that said, Andrew, before we go to that third game, which is the Leafs and the Flames, you got some props for us.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say I like the under in the game. As much as it's hard for me to not take the Capitals based on how they're playing, I do like the under, guys. We got a ton of games on the slate today in the NHL. We only have 3 games with a 6.5 as the total. The rest of them are 5.5s. I mean, what is it? 2010, 2015? I don't know what year it is. But 5.5s are back in the NHL for totals. And I'm curious what you guys think in the comment section below or live chat about these 5.5s. But I think it's about how close things are right now. And look at the standings for Florida. The Leafs are catching up to them in the standings once again. And the Senators are only 2 points back of the Leafs in the standings. So every single game matters to these teams in the individual spots they are in the standings. So with that being said, I think, again, we see a great goaltending display from Washington. We also see a great goaltending display from the Florida Panthers as well. Getting to 2 player props, Carm. Before I get to it, I will just mention that it is $5 Tuesday. We all have one play. up for $5. My play is an NFL play. And, I haven't had a lot of huge plays during the NFL playoffs. We had a couple, top-rated plays, but 8-0 in the NFL playoffs. So I have elected to make my $5 play an NFL big game best bet. And I'm excited about it. Love this one. It is a big play for me. And we're seeing the board very well, betting these really good numbers, a lot of low-hanging fruit in the NFL playoffs. You guys can get that. Or you can join me for that great 1 year, one big game to the next, $11.99 for every single thing. Because once this season in the NFL is over, don't forget about football in the summer. We got CFL, all right? We got CFL football. We got UFC. We got NHL playoffs, all kinds of stuff coming around the corner. So I'll be available, guys. You can join me over at wt.buzz/AM. Works out to be $23 a week for this great 1 year long special. All right, we are going to go to the prop market, and we're going to start things off with a Buffalo Sabres player, J.J. Peterka, versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, who I believe are very injured right now, and they're going to start going downhill. Their offensive numbers have been good lately, Columbus, but their defensive numbers continue to be bad. And I like looking at these head-to-head matchups a lot more than the recent history matchups. J.J. Peterka has at least 3 shots on goal in 4 straight games head-to-head against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the best part is you are getting plus 105 on that one. So I love that. J.J. Peterka from the Sabres over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 105. The next one is going to be Mikko Rantanen over 2.5 shots on goal from the Carolina Hurricanes. And guys, this is one of those ones where I'm looking at it here, and I think the number is 2.5 minus 130 for Mikko, because Carolina's not used to having a pure sniper, pure goal scorer like Mikko Rantanen. I'm not saying he's not a playmaker, but I am saying that they're not used to having somebody that has the green light around him. Whenever this guy has the puck, nobody will complain if he shoots it. He's about to sign a $14 million contract in the NHL this summer. He is not a very passive player. Okay, he's a leader on this team. They traded for him for a reason. We always say bet numbers today that won't be there tomorrow. Carm, I don't think minus 130 over 2.5 shots on goal will be there for Rantanen come next week or the week after that. So I think we bet this well we can. Those are my 2 props, guys. And don't forget about that great 1 year special we have at wt.buzz/AM. Back to you, Carm.
All right, let's get some winners in there. Before we get to this final game, just want to announce one more winner of some PuckTime swag. The 6 and 60 went 3 and 3 on Saturday after a 5 and 1. There was a few people who predicted it, so I drew one name out, and it was at Scott 9286. So at Scott 9286, send a message to support at WagerTalk.com, and Melissa will get the info from you. 9286, Andrew. It's probably his 2 favorite players. 92 was who wore 92? Rick Tocchet, Pittsburgh Penguins, and 86, Nikita Kucherov. So there you go. Rick Tocchet and Nikita Kucherov. First, must be Scott's favorite there. Speaking of the Leafs, Mitch Marner out tonight, it looks like, for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It could be Anthony Stolarz in net as he returns. We'll see at the morning skate, but plus 130 on Calgary, Andy, minus 150 on the Leafs. Where are you going here? I think you're muted.
Andy.
Sorry. I'm going John Tavares under 2.5 shots on goal. He started off the year great. He went over in 17 out of 29 to start the season, but he's gone under in 12 out of his next 15 games, under in 8 out of the last 9. My worry is that he's gone over this in the last 5 games he's played against Calgary, but it's not been this season. It's been previous season, so I don't know how much you can totally take on that, but I'll take his under shots on goal tonight.
I mean, John Tavares right now, I don't think they're asking him to be a goal scorer. They'd want him to be, but I think they're more like, yeah, you're our face-offs guy, you're our defensive guy, you're our setup guy. And anytime I've seen him have nights, Andy, where he scored goals, but then, still it didn't go over those 2.5 shots on goal. It's like, yeah, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 shots, and he still goes under the 2.5 number. So you got to love that with John Tavares there in that one. Carm, overall, this Flames team, I think, is just such a strong defensive team. But a lot of it has been because of their goaltending. Start of the season, I was ripping their blue line apart, saying that they don't have the guys on the blue line. They don't have the proper defensemen. And then obviously they had not one, but 2 great goaltenders. Mackenzie Weegar and some of those guys have really stepped up on the blue line. It's going to be a test playing against the Maple Leafs. But one thing I'm going to say, and Craig Berube has definitely played a factor in helping them get up for certain games like this. But you and I can both agree that when you look at the level of excitement, enthusiasm in that locker room on Saturday night to come out with a 3-0 lead against the Edmonton Oilers, and then now to play a fringe playoff spot team like the Calgary Flames, the level of excitement is just a little bit different, I think, in that Maple Leafs locker room. So I'm taking a flyer here. Flames, first period money line, Flames plus a half in the first period. Split that bet, half unit each. I think the Flames are locked in. They're dialed in for this game here at home. I think we could see a minor letdown spot here for the Maple Leafs after a huge win on Saturday against Connor McDavid. What do you think?
And I could use the pun and say that taking the Flames, hopefully you don't get burnt, but I'm not going to say that.
You did.
Joseph Wall played. I did. Okay, well, I did. So Joseph Wall played unbelievable against the Oilers. I believe his goals saved above expectancy was 2. Just for that one game, he made 2 great saves at the end for the Leafs to hold on to that, to that 4-3 win. Should he get the start tonight? You look at it, and they're going to have to put Stolarz in there somewhere to get him a start. But I'm seeing Joseph Wall expected, but I'm not seeing him as listed as the actual go-to confirmed starter in this one. The thing is, the Leafs seem to have owned the Calgary Flames 8-2 their last 10 meetings, 6-1 their last 7 meetings in Calgary. And they're looking to complete that Alberta double. This is a different Toronto team. And I think Andrew, when we talk about goalies, the one thing that has been the Leafs' Achilles heel each and every season when they hit the playoffs is goaltending. But they seem to have 2 very good ones in Stolarz and Joseph Wall. And they might be able to actually get into the playoffs without having to worry about will goaltending be an issue with them. If you look at the teams in the Eastern Conference that are going to make the playoffs, the Stolarz Wall one has to be, as far as a duo goes, Andrew, top 3, I would think, as a duo, because I like what Washington has, of course, with their 2 starting goalies, but minus 150 on the Leafs. I'm going to be not a homer because I'm not a Leafs fan, but I'm going to be a square in the sense of I'm going to ride the fact that the Leafs play so well against Calgary off a big win in Edmonton, and the winning continues here. I'm not a fan of the Calgary Flames. So with that said, I'll toss it over to Andy. Have you given your thoughts on this one yet?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Well, give me Tavares to score a goal and go under 2.5 shots on goal. What a same game parlay that would be, Andrew.
Yeah.
That was like the Kirk Cousins. Carm, we were hitting same game parlays on. We were hitting same game parlays on Kirk Cousins under 1.5 rushing yards, but over 1.5 rush attempts because he would kneel at the end of games. They were paying out like 6 or 7 to 1. Yeah. It was amazing.
I am waiting. I am waiting for this Sunday's game with bated breath to see what calls are made on the field that everyone is just going to flip out on social media about. I'm going to watch the game. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm taking the winner of the game right out of the equation, Andrew. I'm taking the total out of the equation. I'm going to just bet props because you can't really complain about props. Well, you could, but I'm not going to because the refs really don't have an influence on that one. So we'll see. I'll leave Dan, who will chime in shortly. We love to hear from Dan at all times. Dan, who's going to win the game? Dan?
But if somebody catches the ball,
No.
I have to unmute myself.
What?
I'm a producer that has my stuff muted in the background, Carm. So you just throw it to me. I need a little lead up time for that, buddy.
Just throws it to him.
Dan, who are you cheering? Who are you cheering for this? Dan, who's the best bet for the first touchdown scorer for the Eagles this Sunday?
No pressure.
If you're ISOing in the Eagles, I mean, I would say a Dallas Goedert, a Devontae Smith. I mean, obviously the easy pick would be Saquon Barkley, but if you're loading the box, you're going to be looking for the guys who are going to be cutting through in the middle as opposed to guys who are going deep like A.J. Brown. So I would say like a Devontae Smith, a Dallas Goedert. Devontae Smith has terrific numbers against Steve Spagnuolo defenses. So I'm pretty bullish on some Smith props this Sunday.
There you go. There you go, guys. You heard it from God above, the voice, Dan Alexander. Let's not forget, today's $5 Tuesdays, customer appreciation. All the cappers at WagerTalk, or pretty much all the cappers, have a play up for $5. This is a play that normally sells for either $25 or $35. Andy, what do you have up at WagerTalk? And give us a show best bet.
Yeah, $5 play is up in NHL, but again, just go get that 7 days. It's a huge week of sports. 41-17 run the last 2.5 weeks. You're going to get a 5% UFC play. We're number one in MMA units, coming off of a really nice 3-0 sweep in the NBA. We've creeped into the top 3 for units gained in that sport. You got the Super Bowl, you've got darts, you've got golf, you got everything. So 7-day discount down to $69. Cannot emphasize enough. It's a great week to build bankrolls here. I'm going to go with Anthony Cirelli, my guy, over 1.5 shots on goal. He's kind of in this group where the books can't really figure out what to do with him because he ends up on 2 shots on goal most games. So if they put him at 2.5, you take the under. If you put him at 1.5, you take the over. He's gone over this in 23 out of the last 30 games. And this is a trend that I really like with him. So he only had 1 shot on goal the last game. The last 8 games where he went under this 1.5 shots on goal, he's gone over the very next game. So this is not a guy that goes under multiple games in a row. Ottawa's 14th in shots on goal allowed to centers and forward. So coming off of a game where he only had 1 shot on goal, I like Anthony Cirelli to go over 1.5 shots on goal.
All right. I wish you the best of luck in that one, Andy. I can't believe I made it through the whole show without muting myself once. I'm going to go back to the Buffalo Sabres in regulation as my show free play. I'm just going to ride the streak with the Sabres. They're scoring goals. They're having fun. Some key players out for Columbus, and let's see if the Sabres can sweep this 4-game homestand and in a little way make the Buffalo fans forget what happened to the Bills just a couple of weeks ago. It's going to take a while for them to forget that. Anyways, one play up tonight as so far in the NHL as part of a $5 customer appreciation. It's a 4% side play, so you can get that over on my page. And then I'll have some client plays up in NHL. So if you're a 7-day or longer NHL client or all access client, you'll be getting those plays in your inbox shortly. Andrew, I'll send it to you. You got a really good promo, and give us a show best bet and close it out.
Yeah, I wish we were able to hear what Carm said there, guys. I think he was muted that whole time. He was giving his best bet. We'll have to circle back, but no, you're good, Carm. You're good. Guys, just the promo I'll mention is $5 Tuesday again. NFL play will be up, Carm. I'm happy you guys can't see Carm right now. 8-0 NFL playoffs, guys. So it's a big run, and pretty much all of those plays, I believe 7 of those plays were player props. So only one side or total mixed into that 8-0 playoff run. You guys can get my favorite NFL player prop for just $5 today. It is a big play. But of course, one big game to the next, one full calendar year. You guys can join me at wt.buzz/am, $23 a week. That's what you guys can get if you take advantage of the current special right now at wagertalk.com. all kinds of sports all throughout the summer. We're going to have baseball. We're going to have CFL. We're going to have a little bit of UFC mix in there, but hard to keep up with guys like Andy with UFC. So I'm mostly sit back and keep going with my CFL and other sports. But NHL playoffs, 4 nations NHL players start a week and a half from now. So all kinds of great sports. You guys can get every single thing that I bet for $23 a week. And speaking of which, one thing I will be betting is on the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Second half of a back-to-back for the Ottawa Senators. And I'll tell you what, when I take a look at this team overall, I just don't think that they should be putting Linus Ullmark into this situation, right? I think a goalie shouldn't make his first appearance once again in the second half of a back-to-back after being out for 2 months. I don't like that very much. Minus 110 is the regulation number. Sign me up for that. Take advantage of a hungry team after they lost on Saturday night. We'll take the Lightning to win tonight. All right, guys, great show and a jam-packed NHL slate. Make sure you comment below. Let us know what you are betting tonight in the NHL, whether it's props, sides, totals, team totals. We are interested in what you guys have come up with for your best bets. So always great stuff with Carm and Andy. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow right here, same time, same place on WagerTalk TV.